Back at again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G, and today we're gonna react to WWE 2K24 is accidentally unique. Let's go.
In the mid-2000s, Yuke's developed some of the best wrestling games. In hindsight, the SmackDown vs. Raw games were truly ahead of their time. In the mid-2000s, Yuke's developed some of the best wrestling games. In hindsight, the SmackDown vs. Raw games were truly ahead of their time. They had an impressive array of creation features, offered modes not found in any other sports game, and had very enjoyable arcade gameplay. However, in 2012, THQ, the publisher of these games, filed for bankruptcy, leading to 2K acquiring the rights to produce wrestling games. Despite keeping Yuke's at the helm of development, there appeared to be a shift in the quality of the games under 2K's banner. With the arrival of the 8th generation consoles, WWE games declined significantly in quality. Starting from WWE 2K15 onward, Yuke's games began to range from mediocre to fine. The main reason behind this is that not only did the new generation games not have
So with WWE games, there's been drastic changes through the years.
many features that were present in older titles, but some person at either Yuke's or 2K had the bright idea to make the gameplay of these games more realistic. This change did nothing to help the franchise, which from 2014 to 2019 released functional but uninteresting wrestling titles. All of that would change in 2019. For the worse. Due to some behind-the-scenes issues that we won't go into now, WWE 2K20 turned out to be not just bad by wrestling game standards, but one of the worst games of all time. And I say that without exaggeration. Those of you who watch my videos will have
I wonder if the new WWE game has a lot of glitches in it.
seen that I've made a couple of videos examining the best and worst video games of all time according to science. WWE 2K20 may not have been in the top 10 worst games of all time, but according to the research I did, WWE 2K20 is the 40th worst game of all time.
I have WWE 2K19 on a PS4.
According to science. Regardless of the ranking, that means that both critics and fans agreed that the game was abysmal. But this was a blessing in disguise for 2K. The franchise didn't see a title released for 2 years, but when WWE 2K22 was released, the franchise suddenly had a very strong foundation to build on. And that brings us to today. Wrestling after 20 years is back on its feet, with WWE offering extremely interesting rivalries between stars, and AEW being a very strong alternative with the competition it provides, making so that both
I'm not really a big fan of AEW, but hey, salute to the company.
wrestlers get better salaries, and the audience gets to see better shows. WWE 2K24 capitalizes on this momentum and is a very solid title. It takes the excellent gameplay from 2K22
Do y'all like WWE 2K24? I've never played it yet.
and surrounds it with modes that provide an immense amount of content. The quantity and quality of the modes available are unmatched by any other sports game. WWE 2K24 is unique, but I'm not sure if it's on purpose. It delivers a fantastic single-player experience, but falls short in terms of multiplayer, which is the opposite of any other game in the genre. Let's check it out.
Alright, let's go.
The gameplay of WWE 2K24 hasn't undergone significant changes from last year. Not that this is a bad thing. The gameplay of the last two games has been consistently strong, and Visual Concepts has made some minor additions that definitely enhance the experience, but don't fundamentally change anything in the gameplay. We'll go through them briefly. In matches, players can now execute super finishers, which are special moves that only happen when you fill up 3 finisher bars, and are a useful tool for those who want their matches to follow some sort of storyline. Similar to real life, when a finisher isn't enough, you can use a super finisher to beat your opponent. Additionally, you can carry your
So you can use more than one finisher?
opponent to the spot you want and then use your finisher, which allows for easier use of moves like power bombs near tables. Also, a new camera angle was added that is perfect for the Royal Rumble, but it
That
didn't
reminds me of like Royal Rumble 2011 camera angle.
use it anywhere else. Beyond that, we saw the addition of a new minigame where you trade punches with your opponent, as is done fairly often in real life. Finally, you can jump on several people at once. Overall, these changes are certainly useful, but they are not particularly impressive. However, one addition that I did find very enjoyable is the ability to throw weapons like chairs, tables, and ladders at your opponents. The AI doesn't know how to react when you throw things at it, and it will constantly get up only to get hit by a
But I'm gonna be throwing mad weapons at people.
flying cherry to the face. I don't think anyone asked for this particular addition, but whoever came up with this idea deserves a raise. More importantly, after more than a decade, they finally fixed tag team wrestling. For years, these matches were incredibly frustrating because the AI kept interrupting the action. Now, not only can you order your partner to do things like attack the other opponent outside the ring, but now if someone gets in the ring without being the legal participant, they can't get back in the ring until their partner tags them back in. This is absolutely not realistic, but I do not care because tag team matches finally don't have non-stop AI interruptions. Overall, the gameplay of WWE 2K24 is very good. It keeps the strong foundation established by 2K22, and the
Is it better than 23?
additions made here enrich it just a bit more. While 2K24 didn't see many gameplay changes, it did have 4 match types making a return. Among these, the most notable is the special guest referee match where players take on the role of the referee. Whether you're a wrestler and someone else controls the referee, or you referee the match yourself, this type of match is extremely enjoyable due to its chaotic nature.
I'm trying to be special guest referee, bro. That'll be so fun.
One thing I noticed though is that you can only referee one-on-one matches. This type of match is very fun, and it's a shame that it's only limited to 2-person matches. Other match types include casket and ambulance matches, which are very similar in nature. While they do add variety to the game, these 2 match types rely on button mashing, and matches against AI opponents on the highest difficulty definitely brought me one step closer to arthritis. In one ambulance match, I had my only major glitch in the game, where in order to avoid defeat, Rey Mysterio used his
There was a glitch? So there must be glitches in 24.
superpowers to teleport out of the ambulance into the audience before the doors closed. The rest of the match took place behind the ambulance, where I had to use my hearing to figure out what was going on, as the ambulance hid all the action.
You can't even see the action going on right now.
Finally, we had the return of gauntlet matches, which to be honest, I hadn't noticed were missing from previous titles. Let's move on to the modes.
Gauntlet match.
Like last year, My Rise offers 2 different storylines, Undisputed and Unleashed. These 2 storylines offer 2 very
I don't know, man. My Rise, all it is just like a storyline you gotta do, and then it's like different paths. You could be a face, a heel. You could do different like I said, it's just storylines.
very different experiences.
Most of the times, if you lose, you have to redo the match until you win.
I didn't find them of equal quality. Let's start with Undisputed first. In it, Roman Reigns leaves for Hollywood, leaving his championship vacant. The protagonist is a mid-carder who wins the belt after a series of events. The GMs don't want the belt on the protagonist, and so they set increasingly more difficult challenges for him to defend it. I found this plot very enjoyable. You feel like every match you play matters because if you lose your title. The stories the player gets involved in range from serious to weird, and while I wouldn't like the weird storylines if they were happening in real life, they do fit the game's tone. A pleasant surprise is that this year's My Rise allows you to play the heel, something that wasn't possible last year. I made my character with the intention of playing as a heel, and I love the fact that the game allowed me to do things that fit the character I chose. An unpleasant surprise was the performances of the WWE wrestlers involved in the game. With a few exceptions, I found their performances to be quite stilted. Look, it's a well-known fact that in the video game world, if you get any kind of athletes for voice...
the graphics, the graphics are looking way better though. I'll give them that.
Acting, the result will probably be catastrophic. The most recent example of this that I can recall is NBA 2K15, which had NBA role players kinda reading the script.
About what? That a young buck like you could actually do the right thing and avoid getting his sorry butt kicked out the game.
The performances here aren't that bad, but I'd expect better from people whose 50% of their job is talking. It's like everyone is participating in the game at gunpoint. At the very least, while talking to other wrestlers backstage may not be interesting, the in-ring cutscenes that don't require acting are good enough to carry the plot. And that brings us to Unleashed. In this plot, you're a wrestler who helped create another wrestling company whose primary colors are black and gold, and you go to WWE with the goal of rising to the top of the roster. Yeah, that doesn't remind me of anything. The negative and positive aspects of Undisputed are present in Unleashed too. My problem with this storyline is that while it starts off in a very interesting way, it quickly becomes very boring. The plot is a traditional story where you start from the bottom of the card, and after a lot of effort, you reach the top. The thing is, for most of the plot, you find yourself in constant meaningless rivalries that aren't particularly interesting. Yes, the game does a great job of making you feel like you're stuck in WWE's mid-card, which is a part of the plot. The thing is, the game is great at making you feel like you're in WWE's mid-card in 2019. I don't mind the plot being slow to build up to the important rivalries.
You're talking about putting you in random rivalries. I forgot what he just said, but hold on, let's see.
But if that's the case, the game needs to offer compelling smaller storylines along the way, and Unleashed fails to achieve that. My GM is my
I don't play my GM. Y'all like my GM? I've never been a fan. I know there's a my GM in like WWE. I think there's a my GM in 2K, which is NBA. I think they have like a franchise mode on Madden or something.
favorite mode in the entire game. I feel weird that my favorite part of a wrestling game is looking at the menus, but my GM has gained so much depth in 2 years that it's impossible not to appreciate it. The mode took a huge leap last year, and this year has also seen some major additions. One constant complaint I had about the mode was
I don't know, man. It just doesn't look fun to me.
That how good a wrestler actually was had almost no effect on the matches they would have. In this year's version of my GM, all wrestlers have a predetermined level, which gives them significant bonuses that help them in each match. While at times it feels like the levels were assigned randomly, with Scarlett Bordeaux for example, who hasn't wrestled a single match in the WWE, being 10 levels higher than Io Sky, the current women's champion, is out to say the least, but in general, wrestlers who should have a high level, and vice versa. Another addition is trading, where you can trade wrestlers
So,
after each.
like, I see that there's like money or whatever, so I guess like it says that there's like a budget over here, 203,000. So I guess you are like the general manager, which is GM, and you're in control of the company. I'm guessing that's what it means.
Each PLE. This is a nice idea that changes the way you manage the stamina of your wrestlers. I found that an effective tactic was to completely deplete the stamina of the wrestlers I had, and then offload them to the AI for two wrestlers that were less tired. Something I found interesting is that there is now a form of scouting in the mode. Don't expect anything on the level of Football Manager, but now you have a certain number of scouting points, which are used to find wrestlers to bring into your brand. This makes the process of finding wrestlers more difficult, but offers a dose of realism to the mode, as odd as it is that I have to pay my scouts extra in order for them to recommend The Undertaker. For another year, I found my GM extremely enjoyable, as it's very good at giving me the same sense of satisfaction I get when playing other management titles like Football Manager and F1 Manager. Showcase mode returns for another.
Alright, 40 years of WrestleMania. They were saying that they wanted to go on the route with the Bray Wyatt tribute thing, but they did the 40 years of WrestleMania. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, isn't it? It's WrestleMania 40, so 40 years, I guess, to celebrate 40 years. I haven't played 24, so I don't really know.
Another year, and this time instead of following the career of a wrestler, it takes a look back at 40 years of WrestleMania. As someone who enjoys learning about the history of professional wrestling, I found this mode very enjoyable, especially with a mix of gameplay and footage from the actual matches. I don't have much to say here as this mode doesn't try to do much, but it accomplishes what it sets out to do in a fairly satisfying degree. Lastly, let's talk about my faction, as I didn't play Universe mode much because it's not my cup of tea. This year, I really thought this would be the year I would enjoy my faction. For anyone who doesn't know, my faction is the WWE games equivalent.
I don't play my faction at all. I don't know.
To EA Sports FC Ultimate Team or NBA 2K's My Team. I made my team and went straight to play online. Immediately, I realized something very important. WWE 2K24, while offering probably the best single-player package of any sports game, which is something I appreciate, has not made any effort to build a stable server for the multiplayer experience. Every match I played had a slight delay, which in other games might not be an issue, but in a game where timing is crucial to winning, I didn't last more than 4 matches. WWE games are probably one of the only sports games that offer a better single-player experience than multiplayer, and to be honest, I don't really mind that much. I prefer the matches I play to have a certain flow to them, whereas...
Do you guys like the new pinning system? I don't really like the new pinning system.
Many people online just play to win, regardless of what tactic they use. I already drew the first game I played because my opponent didn't want to lose. Seriously, if WWE games continue to offer such great single-player content, I have absolutely no issue with not touching the multiplayer portion of the game. Overall, WWE 2K24 is a rare game considering the gaming industry in 2024. It offers a fantastic single-player experience while paying little attention to its multiplayer modes. I had a great time playing this title, and I hope Visual Concepts can continue to build on the very strong foundation they've established. And that was my review of WWE.
Alright, well, that is WWE 2K24 is accidentally unique, which I gave my takes while watching his takes and what he was saying. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what y'all want to see next in the comments down below. And yeah, Uriah out.